Bryant's jockstrap. Get him out of here. Ah!
How does that not indicate to you, like, hey, sometimes, like, these prospects are awesome?
Donald, get back. They snatched that chain, boy. Get back. What y'all gonna do about it? Popeye snatched that chain. Get back. We want that snack wrap. They got 3 flavors. Y'all got 1. Get back.
What up, everybody?
Wow.
Welcome on into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Rob Watson, and a late edition, Nick Padone popping on with us. Nick, we weren't sure we were going to have you today, but we're glad to see that you're here and well.
What a sweat that was.
What was going on, brother?
Oh, one of the bathrooms here at the Padone Estates was out of commission. So we were down to one
that you were doing?
bathroom. We were standing on one leg here.
Is it all good now, though?
It's all good now. I had pretty much had to kick the guy out of here. It was taking forever. My dog was freaking out. I'm like, come on, I got to be live on the Factor at 10 a.m.
All right, well, what's up, fellas? It's a beautiful Tuesday. Jack, Rob, what's going on?
Hey, weather's turning around a little bit. Guards put up more than 3 runs last night, so it's always a sign of good things to come. Stopped at the gas station on the way to work today. Got a coffee. There's a nice guy outside the gas station who was like, hey, do you like, could you go give me some cigarettes? I was like, oh, sure. And he was definitely 21, definitely was past 21. But he gave me a $20 bill, and it was only like $8. So
What kind of cigarettes did you get the guy?
I'm actually not really a cigarette guy, but it was like a.
Why did you have to do it for him?
I don't know. I don't know, but
okay.
Point of the story: I made $12. So good morning so far.
Yeah, but I feel like you.
Is
I
this
feel
a
like
money
you might
laundering
have.
scheme?
Yeah,
What?
Jack might have just
What is going on?
admitted that he's an accomplice in this guy's cigarette hunt.
Okay,
What
yeah.
type of stuff is that, bro?
Jack, what if the feds, the black SUVs, roll up on you right
Yeah, what
now?
if he was,
You know what? I've always
undercover?
said if it's my time, it's my time. That's not for me to decide. So
Rock
I'm
Nation's gonna
snitching
get
if
you,
so.
Jack, tell me something good you did yesterday. What was fun?
something good I did yesterday
Yeah.
or fun.
Anything fun or good?
Wow, I did a lot of fun stuff yesterday.
I want to start that show on a high note.
Yeah, I got to hang out with Rob a lot yesterday, so that was really fun. We hung out in the office, had a good time, went home, had some breakfast for dinner, some good chocolate chip pancakes. That got me in a good mood. Hung out with the family for a bit, played the show for a bit. I had a great day.
Nice. All right, well, let's get this thing started. We're talking about Nick Chubb and the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, Nick Chubb is officially a Houston Texan. He signed a 1-year, $2.5 million deal, up to $5 million. The Haslams put out a nice little tribute statement about Nick Chubb. Quote, "We want to take this opportunity to thank Nick Chubb for all he's done for the Cleveland Browns." Jimmy and Dee said, "For the last 7 years, Nick gave everything he had to our fans, this organization, and this city. He always represented our team and a consummate professional and in a manner that showed his passion and love for the game of football." Guys, we talked about this yesterday, but is officially passed his physical and is now a Houston Texan. Has it soaked in?
Yeah, it soaked in a while ago for me. I don't. I just kind of, this was expected. I thought I guess they had to wait for it was official before they put out the statement. But was there a tribute video or was there just a statement?
There was no video yet, but I did see. I was totally fine, Ryan. I was in the same boat as Rob, where it's like, okay, it's been a couple of weeks now. Like the second they took Dylan Sampson, we all kind of knew this was going to be the case, right? But then I was on TikTok last night and I saw a Linger by the Cranberries Nick Chubb tribute video. And
I need to see some edits to like, get me in my feels. Like I need the people on TikTok to get
I saw a 2020 Browns one also to Viva La Vida by Cole. I mean, I was in my feels.
That's the best song ever. I always said that every time I die, when I die, I want that to be
you could have multiple lives.
I want
Mr.
that
Glass.
I want that to be the song that's played at my funeral. Nick, has it officially soaked in, man, that Nick Chubb is no longer a Cleveland Brown for you?
Oh yeah, it is definitely it's definitely hit. You know, we're in mourning today. It's difficult. You know, like Nick Chubb. I think of it through a little bit of a different lens. Like it's crazy to think that Nick Chubb averaged 5 yards per attempt on his career. That doesn't really get talked about because what gets talked about is, you know, the way that he carried himself on the field, off the field, the way that he showed up to work every day, the way that he prepared, you know, in practice for games. Like I think most of all, this team is going to miss Nick Chubb, the professional, in an organization that has been absent leadership for quite some time now. You know, that's a guy that led by example, never said anything, you know, just showed up and went to work. And I think that's the Texans gave him a $2.5 million contract. Like, that's worth its weight in gold in and of itself. He doesn't even have to rush for a single yard. Just, his presence in that locker room, I'm sure is worth what he was paid by the Texans.
Is it safe to say we wasted Nick Chubb?
Yeah.
That is. You know how many games
dude, what did you do?
Like,
you beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, which was magical, and that was a landmark event for this organization when they were able to beat the Steelers in the playoffs. But you didn't really win anything meaningful with him here.
I'm just talking about even like I think he could have put up better numbers. Do you know how many games he used to have like 120 on 15 carries, and it was like, why didn't we just give him the ball 10 more times and see if he could have got 200? Like, the dude was averaging 5 a pop, and we didn't just hand him the ball just every play.
I think you could also speak to, and this kind of sounds dumb now looking at the last 2 years of his career, but he was pretty spotlessly healthy his first 5 years in the league, and I think you can attribute a lot of that to the lack of carries or mileage that he got, especially after his college ACL tear, and also like when you are lucky enough to have a guy like Kareem Hunt with him as well, like that's going to cut in. And I don't know, but yeah, I think the lasting memory of wasting Nick Chubb will probably be the 10 billion run the damn ball tweets we saw over the last 7 years.
Well, where does
those aren't going away, by the way. Like, I hope people realize.
Well, I mean, that's the whole new identity of the team. They better run it this year. We got new fresh legs.
I hope people realize that when Kenny Pickett is throwing incomplete 10 yards over Jerry Jeudy's head, I am tweeting run the ball. And I don't care if it's Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, or if they have to wheel, Jerome Ford back out there.
Put Fannin in the backfield. I don't care.
What's the guy's name?
Pierre Strong's on the roster still too.
Yeah, Kelly, get him back.
John Kelly, baby, preseason legend.
Where's Dearness Johnson?
Run the ball.
Run it, man.
Mr. Sticky?
Run it.
So where does Nick Chubb ranks amongst your guys' grouping of the best players since 1999? Initially, I think top 3. I go Myles Garrett, Joe Thomas, and then probably Nick Chubb.
Pretty solid, man. I don't know.
I'm not sure that I can think of another person since 1999 that would rightfully be ranked above Nick Chubb at that number 3 spot. Unless you want to pull out the Phil Dawson card, and then we can debate on that.
I'm gonna recency bias it here, Ryan. I think it's just because of my age. Like, I don't like. And again, Joe Thomas was awesome, but like Joe Thomas, for a guy who like not inherently a massive football fan, like got into football growing up. Now I'm a huge football fan. Like,
this is a risky take.
Not,
I don't think
no. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna make the take. I'm gonna say it because of how young I am and like getting to watch, like fully watch and understand every snap that Nick Chubb took as a Cleveland Brown. Whereas like Joe Thomas, 2007, I was in kindergarten. Like, I don't really remember his first couple of years in the league. Josh Cribbs, like kind of the same thing. He's probably my favorite Brown since they came back. So it does suck to see him.
Favorite Brown.
No, he's not the best.
Because you can immediately see the impact every single player that Nick Chubb touches the football. It's hard to it's hard to measure that with a guy like Joe Thomas, because a lot of the time, the only time you're talking about an offensive tackle is when they're messing up.
I mean, I wasn't 9 years old. Like, damn, look at how Joe Thomas is pulling
and
around.
It's the longevity, bearing through 900 quarterbacks and never playing a football game or never playing a playoff game, and obviously in the Hall of Fame now.
Just so many iconic runs, though. I get it. I get how that could be like, if you say Nick Chubb's your favorite Brown, like that's like a boring take, bro, because it's just like, obviously, because it's just the perfect guy who never spoke and just always did everything right. Running through 8 people down the field, like, how do you not get behind that guy? He fit the city so well. Tough to see him go, man.
Would you guys be mad at like any of your friends or anything like that? People that would say that they're gonna, kind of pull for the Texans next year to see Nick Chubb get a ring. I think they're, now we're at the stage. He picked the Texans because he wants to go compete.
I'm sick of hearing that, though. That's like when they wanted to cheer for Baker.
That's what I was gonna. Can I get a clarification, Nick? Do you mean
they're
like
in the playoffs? Sure, I'll be like, I want to see Chubb win, but I'm not gonna be watching every game all season. Like, I hope the Texans are doing good. Like, that's a little bit too much.
You're a freak if you tune into a Texans game just to watch Nick Chubb.
And I asked, how many yards do you think he even runs for this year? No hating, but I don't think it's a lot.
No, that's the thing. I don't know why I just stuttered like crazy. I don't know what the splits are going to be like. It'll be Joe Mixon. You have the rookie you drafted, Dameon Pierce and Dare Ogunbowale. But like when Joe Mixon wasn't on the field, the Houston Texans couldn't rush. So I think he'll get it. I think he could get every opportunity to get third down to get like third down carries to pull those people. When Joe Mixon needs a rest, you put him in. I would still trust him coming off that horrible injury over a guy like Dare or a guy like Dameon Pierce. So I think they'll give him every opportunity, but I don't know how that split's going to work.
I bumped my lineup from pre-show over under 400. Say
over.
Ooh.
I was gonna say 500 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns.
So you think they're just gonna pound the rock this year? Because Mixon's like a 900+ 1,000-yard guy with 17 games, or you think he's gonna get hurt?
Either could happen.
I don't know. We'll find
It'll
out.
be close. It's a good line, I think.
It is a good line. I've got Chubb 500 yards, 5 touchdowns next year.
He'll score.
The Jerome Ford, if you will.
He could be
Right.
the goal line back for sure. He could now transition to what Kareem used to do here for us out there.
Right.
I could-
That's
yeah,
exactly what I kind of thought about.
I could see that happening.
Ryan, obviously it's a little too soon to tell, but I'll be excited for some of your fantasy insights. That's kind of where my brain went.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
dude.
Could be
like
a
dude,
touchdown
because
machine.
how do you figure that out? Do you draft Mixon? Do you draft Chubb? They've got 2 young running backs as well. That's
the thing about
that's
fantasy.
a boondoggle, as
Fantasy-
Big Play Cleveland would say.
Yeah,
He'd be like a late
That's the
round
thing about
stash
fantasy
to
because
see
it
if
also
works.
determines, are you PPR, are you standard, or you have
Yeah.
PPR, because Nick Chubb isn't catching passes.
But
in Houston.
Mixon gets the dump downs, but if Nick Chubb's gonna score you a touchdown a game, depending on how your team's set up,
It's also based on game scripts. Like if they're going to be
Yeah.
up a lot, and then run the ball. But I don't know if they're going to be up a lot.
We need to get into that fantasy talk.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll-
excited for that.
We'll get there eventually. I am excited about it too. All right, let's take a quick break. When we get back, I want to run through in memoriam the Browns 2020 playoff roster and just go through it and just realize how many people have parted ways in Cleveland since that magical moment in Pittsburgh. And we'll talk about that when we get back on the break. Actually, Nick, real quick, I keep forgetting. We got to tell them about Call It Company's championship before we go to a break.
Guys, I can't believe Ryan. I think you and me are going to be out in Akron on our own little top secret mission a week from today.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
But June 18th through the 22nd, you guys have to get out there to Firestone Country Club with us. For 72 years, it's been the center stage for some of the greatest golfers in history, a true staple in the game of golf. But it's more than just a tournament. It's a celebration of community, philanthropy, having raised over $34 million for charitable organizations. Over the past 2 years, the colleague companies themselves have raised $2.6 million and given that to over 25 Northeast Ohio charities. Get your tickets today, colleaguegolf.com. It's for a great cause. We'll be out there June 18th through June 22nd. Check out the Colleague Infinity Zone. It's truly an event where you can bring your kids. You know, if you want to get out there and see the legendary golf on the course, great. But off the course, the Colleague Infinity Zone, that's where we'll be at. That's where all the activations go down. There's food trucks, there's beverages, there's desserts even. Come on down, colleaguegolf.com, and we'll see you guys out there.
All right, we got to take a break, but when we get back, as I mentioned, we'll go through that Browns 2020 roster and just talk about the Browns circus that is in Berea. We'll be right back on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back into The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson, and our great friends at Fairway Ford Ohio. Fairway Ford Ohio is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the entire state. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s and Super Duty trucks, and I promise you they will not be beat on price by any other Ford dealer. You see right up there, employee pricing for everybody. You pay less than what they pay. That's pre-tariff pricing on all Fords. Over 500 in stock on their lot in Canfield right now. Your dream vehicle could be there as we speak, so don't let that short drive prevent you from saving literally thousands of dollars on your new ride. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing and same hometown level of service. Scan that QR code or go give their website a visit now. That's fairwayfordohio.com. Again, that's fairwayfordohio.com. Well, guys, I just saw Deshaun Watson threw a hell of a bachelor party. Good for him, guys. We're talking about the 2020 Cleveland Browns playoff roster. It seems like a lifetime ago when they marched into Pittsburgh. First snap, the center throws it right over Big Ben's head, and we recover it for a touchdown, and it was all Cleveland Browns from there, guys. I looked at this roster this morning, and I damn near cried. I want to run through it with you guys right now. Baker Mayfield, gone. Nick Chubb, gone. Odell, gone. Jarvis Landry, gone. Harrison Bryant, gone. Austin Hooper, gone. This was Jed Will's rookie year, gone. Joel Bitonio, the ageless wonder, he's still with us. J.C. Treader, gone. Wyatt Teller and Conklin are actually still with us. Defensive starters, this is absolutely crazy. Myles Garrett, of course, is still with us.
We got a Carl Joseph shout out
Olivier
coming.
Vernon?
Sendejo?
Here we go. Sheldon Richardson.
Oh,
Larry Ogunjobi. Olivier Vernon.
the Vernon man.
Mac Wilson.
Oh no.
Oh.
BJ Goodson.
Ooh.
Number 93?
Sione Taki
forget.
Taki.
Taki was a big player.
You got to
was.
pick that game. Denzel Ward, of course, still with us. Terrence Mitchell, Carl Joseph, and Andrew Sendejo.
Let's talk about it.
A far cry from this 2025 Cleveland Browns
Ever
roster.
since we started putting resources into our secondary, they got worse.
Yeah, honestly.
Mitchell, Joseph, and Sendejo were solid.
Dude,
back there
Demarius
with
Randall was
Ward.
holding it down at CB3 also.
These dudes were
Those,
solid.
you guys want to know why?
when we had less
I
expectations.
hate to do this. Those were John Dorsey guys.
So,
It used to be solid back there.
Do we want to get into the topic of Andrew Berry and John Dorsey? Surprisingly enough, I was looking at all the GMs from the Browns back all the way from 1946, which is, of course, Paul Brown.
wow.
Andrew Berry, this is his 5th year. And
What has he done
he's
to
been
this
here longer than a
speech?
lot of GMs.
I'm saying.
Like, I'm sitting here since, if this is correct, guys, like the longest since Ernie Accorsi in 1985.
Everyone
6
else
years.
was gone
Oh, wow.
after a year or
John
two.
Dorsey, 2017 and 19. Sashi Brown, 2016 to 17. Ray Farmer, 2014 to 15. Mike Lombardi, 2013. Tom Heckert, 2010 to 12. George Kokonis, 2009. Phil Savage,
Phil said.
Butch Davis, Dwight Clark, Ozzie Newsome,
it's
Bill
like, tell me,
Belichick.
What has he
Ozzy.
done? What has he done?
So Andrew Berry, I mean,
be so
GMs in Cleveland don't
ironclad.
last very long, but Andrew Berry's
Here's the thing about Andrew Berry though, is that he actually has and had when he got hired a process and a plan, whereas a lot of those guys didn't. And as big as of a John Dorsey fan that I still am, and I certainly was when he was the general manager here, that guy had absolutely no plan. His plan was literally stockpile the best and fastest players that he humanly can and hope that it all can be figured out. Like, I do think Andrew Berry, just from like a cap manipulation as well as a roster construction and the way that he's able to manipulate things on roster cutdown day, has more of a level-headed plan and had one prior to the Deshaun Watson nightmare than any of those guys on the list that you just named. You know, the rest of those guys were literally from day one throwing crap at the wall and hoping that it stuck. Like, look at when Barry got fired, he started educatedly, addressing things. They needed an offensive lineman. He took Jed Wills. That was the wrong one, but he at least took him.
Dorsey
Same thing
gets
the
us a
next year.
Hall of Famer there. And he would have picked Justin Jefferson.
he would have
or
drafted
something.
Wirfs.
We would have had Wirfs, Baker, and he would have got someone.
He would have
would've
said
traded back into
that
the
guy
first.
jumped up through a
Yes,
pool and he's
bro.
350 pounds. How do I pass on him?
Sometimes you need that.
So I'll defend Barry a little bit with this thing, just because I do feel like he had a good idea of what he was doing, and the Deshaun Watson thing set him back.
Regardless, no GM in Browns history has been able to draft a wide receiver. That's pretty standard.
Correct.
Jack,
You fell into Josh Gordon. You had Jarvis was a free agent.
That's my favorite Brown of all time.
and then right, that was a supplemental pick. It wasn't even the NFL draft.
Right. You had to trade a first round pick and more for Odell Beckham Jr.
Same with
You
Amari.
had to trade for Jerry Jeudy, trade for Amari. Like,
Cool.
I mean, Braylon Edwards back in the day
That was
was
only
maybe
a
the last
one-year
one that
thing
you
that
kind
worked
of
out.
really drafted, hit on, and developed.
And then even that
He
one
was
didn't
just
work
Greg
out
Little
because
with aura.
he decided
we
to
draft
one
Terrell
big
Pryor, and
season.
he fell in our lap.
he decided to punch LeBron's friend in the face.
Raiders drafted Terrell Pryor.
Terrell Pryor came here as a quarterback,
Yeah.
so like It's not just an Andrew Berry thing with the receivers.
So, Jack, I like how you wrote here drafting big like favorite Browns circus moments, because a lot of the moments that we think of when we think of the Browns, unfortunately, they often aren't good on-field things that come to
Barnum,
mind.
Ryan.
They are. There's a lot of P.T. Barnum. It's like The Greatest Showman should take place, part 2 in Berea. Some notable ones, guys. Please feel free to shout out just complete Browns circus moments that come to your mind when we're talking about this. I've read about this one this morning to refresh my memory. Derek Anderson, Pro Bowl quarterback actually for our Cleveland Browns, on his way out, had quite the quote to Cleveland fans. Quote, "The fans are ruthless and don't deserve a winner. I will never forget getting cheered when I was injured. I know at times I wasn't great. I hope and pray I'm playing when my team comes to town. We roll them."
So speaking of that team, we got Kellen Winslow. I could just say that. There's a lot that's happening there after the career. Braylon Edwards fighting LeBron James's friend downtown.
Speaking of Terrell Pryor, there's that clip of Adam Pac-Man Jones.
Trash.
He's back in the news, by the way. Pac-Man is back in the news.
That's like his third public
he's
intox
looking
charge.
in the trash can for Terrell Pryor. He's like,
That's
where's
him
he
over
at?
there.
I think he's in there.
Garbage.
I'd like to add as well, we did in fact hold an open casket funeral for a dog at one point in time. So
I've said this forever, and it's probably unfortunately going to be up to one of you guys to at some point in my life hold me to it. There needs to be a book that's written about the 2019 Cleveland Browns, about Freddie Kitchens era Cleveland Browns. I'll pull it up when one of you guys are talking. One night in my college apartment, my roommate Sean and I put together literally a day-by-day list of everything that happened from the moment that the season started until the moment that it ended. And it was literally something different every single day, from Odell Beckham Jr. with the watch, Odell Beckham Jr. with the cleats. You had the Myles Garrett helmet swing. People forget the day of the Myles Garrett helmet swing.
Oh, was that Callaway?
Yeah. Another circus.
They cut a starting wide receiver.
Because he was fried trying to walk over, right?
right before the game, because he parked in the wrong parking lot. Like, there are so many things in that season that just encapsulated what it meant to be a Browns fan. So I'll pull up that list, because 2019 alone could be a book.
Does anybody remember Dante Stallworth?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we gave him in 2008. We gave him a 7-year, $35 million deal. Which you think about now, 7 years, $35 million.
He's a receiver, right?
It was an overpay, but we thought we were gonna really. This was the year after I think we had a really good season. We
won 10 games.
And then this isn't funny by any stretch of the imagination, but he decided to run somebody over and kill him. And this quote here is actually quite insane. It says, "Stallworth hit and killed a pedestrian who was on his way to work as he crossed the street. To make matters worse, Stallworth's initial explanation involved him making a statement saying that he flashed his lights as though warning the pedestrian he was about to run him down with his car."
Okay, so I've got my list pulled up here from the 2019 Browns. It all starts on June 4th, when Duke Johnson reported to training camp and still wanted to be traded. Baker Mayfield then on June 4th said, "You're either on this train or you're off of it." On June 13th, Mike Silver reported a rift between Freddie Kitchens and then offensive coordinator Todd Monken. July 23rd, Hollywood Higgins posted himself on social media wearing a Browns Super Bowl Miami Gardens t-shirt. August 3rd, Bob Wiley ripped Freddie Kitchens, saying that Ken Zampese was actually responsible for the Browns' success, predicting the Browns wouldn't go anywhere. August 8th, the Browns traded Duke Johnson to Houston. August 9th, Antonio Callaway was suspended for the first time 4 games for substance abuse. August 29th, Kareem Hunt underwent that mysterious sports hernia surgery. August 29th, John Dorsey traded for Wyatt Teller. August 31st, he traded for Justin McCray. August 31st, he traded for Taywan Taylor. Remember, that was the week before they were set to play the Titans in week 1. August 31st, Braxton Miller got cut. And that was all before the season even started.
Jesus Christ. You talk about a circus, man.
When the season started September 8th, Odell debuted Watchgate when he wore the Rolex and was penalized for it. September 8th, Greg Robinson, the starting left tackle, was ejected for kicking Kenny Vaccaro in the head. September 8th, Myles Garrett punched Delaney Walker in the face. September 8th, everybody's going to throw us in the trash, and I think that's good. That was Baker after the loss. September 8th, again, week 1, they had 18 penalties for 182 yards in the loss to the Titans. 6 of those were personal fouls. And it just went on from there. Like Chris Smith's girlfriend was tragically killed. September 12th, the Bronx banned the wrong Eric Smith, the guy that dumped the beer on one of the Titans in the end zone. They banned the wrong guy. Then that next week, Odell wore the watch, but then had the visor. David Njoku was diagnosed with a broken wrist. This is all, again, before the 4th and 9 nightmare where they ran a draw play against the Rams in Los Angeles. Like this list, and I'll retweet it for people that are out there. Like it truly breaks down everything that happened in 2019.
I'm just looking at a list, just this long. It's a 3-page list that I have to scroll to get to the bottom of Cleveland Browns who have been arrested since 2000.
Yes. Speaking of Dante Stallworth, you said we gave him a 7-year contract, right? Before we signed him, he was coming off a 46 reception, 700-yard, 3-touchdown season.
A
7-year contract?
According to Google.
You guys remember Sean Rogers?
Yeah, he was like a nose tackle, right?
Sean Rogers got arrested for having a handgun in the airport. Lee Bodden's accused for not complying with police in the airport, bro. Greg Little.
September 25th. September 25th, Baker Mayfield and Rex Ryan were taking jabs at each other about his unemployment. September 29th, Marlon Humphrey choked Odell in that Ravens game. September 29th, that Ravens game, Jarvis exited the game with a concussion, but he somehow defied concussion protocol and returned to practice before Thursday Night Football. That's when Nick Bosa sacked Baker like 100 times and planted the flag.
William Green for the bag of marijuana in his car. Do you remember William Green?
Run, William, run.
Just an absolute joke of a franchise guy.
October 11th was when Swagger did decide to retire from the Browns.
Gerard Warren, our D tackle that we picked at 3.
Dude, if Mason Graham sucks, the Browns can never take a D tackle in the first round again.
Who are we allowed to draft? We can't draft D tackles. We can't draft receivers.
Can't draft quarterbacks.
I would like to see Andrew Berry draft a receiver in the first round.
On this list, I have October 29th. OJ Simpson says Jim Harbaugh is the fix for the Cleveland Browns woes. That next day, Baker Mayfield delivered the Jesus Tony line.
An absolute circus in Berea. Hey, guys, at least we have the Cleveland Guardians. They might never win another World Series, but at least they're pretty consistently good. We got to take a break. Tito returned to Progressive Field. Got the better of our Guardians again. We'll talk about that when we get back on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody, welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Pannone, Rob Watson just got done wrapping up the last 25 years of Cleveland Browns embarrassments. It's time to talk about our Cleveland Guardians, but before we do, I got to tell you about our friends at Garage Beer. Garage Beer comes in just 2 flavors, Classic Light Lager and Classic Lime. No frills, no bitterness, none of that IPA taste. It's just beer the way you want it, beer-flavored beer. Scan that QR code or go give their website a visit now, drinkgaragebeer.com. to find local retailers who sell garage beer near you. Again, that's drinkgaragebeer.com. Well, Tito Francona made his return to Progressive Fields. The Cincinnati Reds come to town. They get the better of the Guardians again. They win 7-4. Luis Ortiz with a bad outing, 4 2/3 inning pitch, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Jack, Tito Francona getting the best of the Guardians again. You know, it seems every time the Guardians play the Reds decide they want to hit the ball pretty well.
Yeah, I think anytime it's unspoken. When you have a player's coach or manager, in this case, like Tito, those guys want to go out there and play hard for him. And they definitely know this series means something more to him, whether he'll say it or not. And he definitely hasn't so far. That'll mean a little bit more. Like, that's going to come out and happen. You even see it with his guys that come from Cleveland as well. Will Benson's been awesome both these times around. Ian Jabot, who made literally one appearance for us a couple of years ago, got in last night for Cincy on the mound, did well. Like, I don't know. You can't look too deep into it, but it is kind of funny that we can't beat them. But, I mean, it does suck, guys, losing the Ohio Cup for the first time since the three of us were in grade school, I think. So it's been a while. I mean, we always want the cup, but didn't get the cup.
Terry Francona, they're calling him a Ohio Cup merchant.
Yeah, he might be. He has a ring, though, so.
He owns the Ohio Cup. You know, he helped us dominate that rivalry during his time here with the Guards. Now the Red Legs are beating us up, man. What's going on? The Gardos are in bad shape, man. Go listen to Jensen Lewis bringing the heat on the Big Play Cleveland show and the Big Play app this week. Our guy J-Lou50, I know he's been traveling around, maybe a little tired, maybe a little grumpy, not high on these Guards at all. The exact quote was, "It probably gets worse before it gets better."
Jack, where do you rank Tito amongst the greatest coaches of all time in baseball and in Cleveland?
In like Cleveland in my lifetime?
Yeah. Doesn't even have to be baseball.
I have a hard time not putting him one Cleveland in my lifetime. Like, I know Ty Lue got the ring, but that's kind of, I don't know. That's kind of LeBron's ring. I feel like LeBron drew up a couple of plays there, but it's just different. Like when he was here for 11 years, which no one else has been. Getting to a World Series is really, really hard. Got you to a World Series, went to the playoffs countless times. Took a team that really, from the end of the Eric Wedge era through Manny Acta into Tito, was an awful baseball team, like a 65-win baseball team for much of the later 2000s. Turned them in from 2013 to 2023. You make the playoffs 7-8 times. Like, it's hard for me to not put him one in Cleveland. And in the sport, like, not top 5 or anything, but he helped the Red Sox break their curse. He got 2 rings there. He was awesome in Cleveland. So I mean, he'll be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, for sure. He's probably one. You know, like Ty Lue has the ring to show for it, but Terry Francona is probably the best coach, manager, whatever in all of our lifetimes, and potentially, you know, like maybe even like in our parents' lifetimes too. I mean, 11 years is nothing to scoff at, and the fact that he was able to resurrect this organization from the ashes. Like the Tribe were in some pretty desperate days before Francona arrived, and quickly, like from day one, he was able to course correct and kind of turn this entire organization around into the, you know, stable factory of playoff appearances that it's become. So I definitely, you know I've had my, you know, jokes and some jabs at Tito along the way, because I do believe he kind of lost it at the end, you know, and that his, you know, better days were behind him. But I do appreciate the decade that he gave this baseball organization.
I'm a little bit mad at Jensen Lewis for hopping this far off the guard train right now.
Dude, I was surprised yesterday. I'll tell you, I was surprised. He threw cold water all over.
I might shoot him a strongly worded text message, because this is exactly what the national media wants you to think about the Cleveland Guardians right now. Team who hasn't had anyone the whole entire year. You're just getting David Fry back. You haven't even seen Shane Bieber. They've already hit the toughest part of their schedule. Now we like David Fry. You're damn right now we like David Fry, because he had a home run off right-handed pitching a couple nights ago. You're at a point where you've already gone through the thickest part of your schedule. It is up from here in terms of who you're going to have to play, and now's the time to go. I know it hasn't looked pretty, but you're seeing better signs out of Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams every time through. I know Luis Ortiz took a mini step back. Bo Naylor's hitting the ball a little bit this week. You're starting to get a little bit more, I didn't say a lot, a little bit more out of your outfield. You never know when these things can turn around, and hey, it might start on a Tuesday night in June. Why not?
Well, Jack,
all it takes is one hot streak,
right?
Man.
It starts with one game or one moment. Like that's how it all flips around.
I can't believe you guys.
That Guards ball.
No, we're so fine.
I can't believe you guys are drinking the Kool-Aid. Jack, Bo Naylor, his last 7 days hitting 300 with 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 6 walks, and only 4 strikeouts. His average is up to 196 on the year. 9 home runs, that's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record here on the show, but if Bo Naylor is going to hit around 200, give you halfway decent defense, and hit 15 to 20 home runs, he's probably going to be here at a minimum until they're positive that Cooper Ingle is ready. Like, there's no reason to go out and upgrade catcher, in my opinion. Like, they're not going to move off of Austin Hedges at the backup catcher spot for $4.5 million. No one's going to take that contract. It doesn't really seem like we want to even get rid of him in the first place. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, Bo ain't the issue. There's a lot of issues. They spread across. Consistent line of hitting does. I mean, obviously Bo's got to get better too, but it's an everyone thing.
And the one thing that I'll continue to default to when people complain about Bo Naylor, it's just like, go Google the rest of the catchers in Major League Baseball. Like, catchers are not hitting like that anymore. Like it's maybe not the same automatic out that Bo Naylor usually is, but it's not like you have these catchers that are just raking like what they used to.
Cal Riley would like a word, but I'm just kidding. That's only one. Your point still stands, Nick. Tigers #1 spot in the Major League Power Rankings. Twins tied at number 12. Kansas City's number 17, and the Cleveland Guardians coming right behind number 18. I feel like that's a pretty fair ranking for our Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, I think the Tigers being #1 is ridiculous, though.
But how can you say that? Because here, Jack, and maybe you'd be different, but at the same time, this was kind of the Guardians last year. Kind of came out of the woodwork, the #1 record in all Major League Baseball, and people were kind of having, doubts, like, is this just a hot streak? But at the time, would you not have said, yeah, they should be #1 because of their record?
Us last year?
Yeah.
No, I did not say we were #1 at this
Fair
time
enough.
last year at all. I didn't have us anywhere close. I don't know. And I was big on the Tigers last year. Like, before they got good even, like, I was on the gritty Tigers train when it was cute in, like, July and they didn't totally get it together. Even thought, like, hey, they'd be a really tough playoff matchup. That went up. That ended up being true. Into this year, like, they're a good team. They're a playoff team. They damn well may be a division winner. But I don't think there's one person on the planet who can sit here with a straight face and tell me that they're the best team in baseball just because they've played so hot through the first, 65 or so games. And yeah, they do look great. The starting rotation's been awesome. Scooble's one of the best pitchers in baseball. They have a bunch of guys in the lineup right now who have had strong years, starting with Riley Green at the top, obviously. But man, like, if you look at just who's on the Los Angeles Dodgers roster, like, and I get it, but like, it's like when LeBron was on the Cavs and they knew that no matter what was going to happen, they were going to end up in the playoffs and probably have a pretty high seed. So what if the Cavs won 53 games because LeBron sat out a little bit and they ended up being the 3 seed? They were going to get in and just roll because that's what they would do. The Dodgers don't need to be one all year long. They don't need to go wire to wire. They don't need to go 25-5 every single month to show you they're the best team in baseball. They're the best team in baseball, and until someone proves them wrong and unthrones them, or dethrones them rather, I think it's a joke.
Elite Glaze?
Elite Glaze. All right, guys, we got to take another break. When we get back, the Cleveland Cavaliers certainly aren't the best team in the NBA because they're not playing anymore. We got news that Darius Garland is going to be out 4 to 5 months, get surgery on that toe that was giving him trouble throughout the later half of the season and into the postseason. We'll talk about what that means for Darius Garland and the Cavs' future when we get back on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody, welcome back into The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack Rourke, Nick Pinot, and Rob Watson. We're talking about our Cleveland Cavaliers. News came out yesterday that Cavaliers guard Darius Garland had surgery Monday to repair his left big toe that troubled him during the playoffs. They expect Darius to miss 4 to 5 months. Cavs said they expect Garland to make a full recovery and resume basketball activities by the start of training camp. If anybody would like,
can we stop right there?
Yeah.
So that doesn't add up.
Yeah, like, what do we?
There's the first thing that doesn't add up.
Means November, buddy.
The 5 months means you miss the start of the regular season. Throw out training camp, throw out the preseason, throw out media day. 5 months means Darius Garland's missing the start of the season. So what's the disconnect here with Darius, with the Cavs? This isn't a new issue either. The Cavs, it's honestly an issue across Cleveland sports, to be honest. The way that we're reporting on these injuries doesn't make any sense. If it's that severe, and if Shams is putting out there that it's going to be 5 months, say that it's going to be 5 months. The Cavs aren't doing their own players any favors by saying that he's going to be ready for the start of training camp, because if he's not, you know exactly what these fans are going to do. They're going to call him soft. They're going to start up the jabs, where if this was that serious of a toe injury that required surgery, call it for what it is. DG was a warrior for trying to push through that. Nobody's going to trade for that contract now, knowing that he could miss the start of the regular season. This doesn't add up, and it's so infuriating the way that the Cavs season ends, and we're finally just starting to get over it, and here they hit us with this.
I know you guys were dying to know, but the procedure was performed by Dr. Nicholas Strasser at Vanderbilt University. That's, of course, where Darius went to college.
Right.
In consultation with Cavs team Dr. James Roseneck of the Cleveland Clinic and Dr. Bob Anderson of Ortho Carolina.
So what do you think Dr. Boz Anderson is really doing here as a consultant when you're breaking it down? Like, because you're is that his name? Is that what you said?
Bob.
Bob? Oh, I thought he was like I don't know, like German or something, and just coming in for the surgery. But so you got his
Dr.
guy
Fishy Swan.
Yeah, you got his guy back at Vandy. Then you have the Cavs team consultant. What the hell's this third guy doing? Who's he consulting from? That's my question.
No idea.
So the Vandy doctor makes sense. Some people had their pitchforks out about that yesterday. The Vandy doctor is probably the guy that put together his knee. You know, DG only played 5 or 6 games in college. He actually tore his ACL against Kent State before he was drafted number 5 overall by the Cavs. So I don't mind that that's the guy that is doing the procedure, because that's probably what Darius was comfortable with from his college days. But it's weird. The reporting of it is weird. And the fact of the matter of it now is I do think it's going to be really hard to find anybody remotely interested in touching that contract, knowing that DG might not play until November.
He won't. He's not getting moved. Maybe if he comes back and looks okay, maybe at like the midseason if we become sellers. But yeah, Nick, he's not going anywhere. My question is now, why did we even play him if his toe was this messed up? We were asking Nick. We sat down and we talked about that game where all 3 people were out, and we looked at 2 injuries and we said, they'll probably be back up and running for the rest of the series. But we kept saying there's obviously something they're not telling us about his toe. Why keep playing him if you know that it wasn't going to happen and now it's going to carry over into next year? What did they hope to accomplish?
Yeah, like just shut him down then.
Because then if we did advance, then what?
Well, even I understand.
It would have been more of the same. It would have been more of the same if you somehow would have pulled off the unthinkable upset and beat the Indiana Pacers when DG got healthy, enough to literally stand on the court and not do a whole lot more than that. Like, it would have been more of the same in the conference finals and the NBA finals. We would still be playing the game of day to day with a toe injury that's going to shut the guy down 5 months.
He might have missed the whole next year if they kept playing, if they advanced. The surgery might have led to like a month or 2 off actually in the offseason. He probably made it much worse coming back and playing those extra games.
I kind of can't believe this, guys, to be honest with you, because this truly does, like people were saying before, and I was kind of trying to dox, the second apron truthers and the people that were just thumping the NBA, CBA, saying that the Cavs couldn't make any moves. The Cavs can't make any moves. Like, they could make some moves, but now it becomes even more difficult. And I think now the attention really has to turn to Jared Allen.
Off my roster.
Yeah, you got to get that out.
We got to make a move. You bring this squad back with injuries next year? What am I watching? Now you got to
if you lose Ty Jerome in free agency,
that's what I was going to ask.
Ricky Rubio.
CPJ, baby.
CPJ. Jr., baby. All season. Who's our backup? Who we bring? Imani Bates might just run the backup.
Mo Williams. What's he doing?
Oh, could get Mo Gotti out there. Jordan Clarkson, he's still around, right?
No, we have to get rid of someone. You can't keep it stat pat now with what this is. It's impossible.
I mean, why is, and again, I don't know as much about basketball as you guys.
I see you're trying to say something.
Why is Isaac Okoro still on the roster? Can I just ask that as a non-basketball person for $12 million?
I don't know how that happened.
Nick, we were talking about Mo Williams, bringing him back. Who's our backup point guard if we lose Ty Jerome?
Delhi.
Squad is cooked. They literally have to make moves now, or else
It could be Booby's world.
When we talked about favorite athletes yesterday, I almost said Matthew Dellavedova.
Dude, there was a
acceptable.
period of time,
Clamped Curry.
like a 2 or 3 week span in 2015 where Matthew Dellavedova could have walked on water. Like I had my lock screen when I was in high school during those finals was that like edit of Matthew Dellavedova like defending Michael Jordan.
That was my lock screen too.
Oh my god.
All right, we got about a minute left here on the Big Factor Tuesday edition. Jack, why don't we end this thing talking about the Florida Panthers absolutely destroying the Oilers to take a 2-1 lead in the Stanley Cup final?
Ryan, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the show. Doesn't happen often, but you love a good skull fucking in the playoffs and sports when it comes up. We haven't seen one since Minnesota took down Denver a couple of rounds ago in the NBA playoffs. We got a good skull fuck last night in the NHL, folks. Coming out strong, Carter Verhaeghe knocked one in for the Panthers. Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand, all the usual suspects. Sergei Bobrovsky stops 32 in net. Guys, series is going to stay in Florida. Matthew Tkachuk not fully healthy, but starting to look like it's going to go the Panthers' way if they can take game 4. But I got to ask my hockey guy here because I'm not the only hockey guy on the show. People aren't buying into the stigma enough. We got Rob as well. Rob, who's winning the series? How many games?
I told you, Florida, man. That game 2, I sat and I looked at you. I said, I feel like Edmonton really missed the opportunity. If McDavid isn't creating literally everything, they struggle to score. And I think the Florida Panthers are just a much deeper team. So
Yes, they are.
I'm saying Florida in 6. I think McDavid is so good, he gets you a game somehow. He produces some magic. They somehow kept it alive last year down 3-0. But give me Florida in 6.
I love it. I mean, you're not going to get this kind of hockey coverage anywhere else in Cleveland, Ohio.
All right, we got to head out. We're out of time. Huge thanks to Garage Beer Fairway Ford. Remember, Call It Company's championship is next week. Go get your tickets. CallItGolf.com. We'll be there. You won't miss it. It'll be amazing. All right, we'll be back maybe tomorrow. If not, we'll be back Thursday. Same people, same time. So if we don't see you tomorrow, have a wonderful
You know what
day.
Hannibal said? If I cannot find a way, I'll make one. We might be on Periscope tomorrow, but we're going to figure it out.
There you go. Well, if we don't have a show tomorrow, we'll recap game 2 of the NBA Finals, which is tomorrow night. And if we do have a show tomorrow, we'll preview it. All right. Appreciate everybody tuning in to The Big Factor. We'll be back. Peace out.